The war against online freedom and privacy continues. First, it was Steam and itch.io being censored at the behest of Australian feminists and credit card companies. Now, once again, the powers that be are deciding what we can or can't do with our hard-earned money in what's supposed to be a free country. So just recently, Subscribestar has updated their TOS. And for those who aren't in the know, Subscribestar is a Patreon alternative that was created specifically to counter the censorship that existed on Patreon. However, with these new rule changes, they've become as draconian as Patreon, and even more draconian in some ways. So let's go through these rule changes one by one, alright? So first off here, any depiction of underage or underage appearing characters in sexualized circumstances, regardless of artistic style, medium, or whether the content is fictional, illustrated, animated, or digitally rendered. In short, all lolicon and shota is banned, potentially even just like a lot of hentai in general, because lots of hentai is just with teenagers. It goes even further with this next rule though. Sexualized depictions of characters from films, games, anime, comics, or other media that are canonically underaged, even if such characters are aged up by a textual 18+ statement, modified, or reinterpreted. So now you can't even just age up a character. Alright, so hypothetically, even if you draw them aged up, it still would be against their rules. You know, this kills fan art, parody games, basically anything from any show that has a underage cast. This rule specifically is actually stricter than what we see on Patreon. From what I can tell at least, Patreon actually does allow aging up the characters. So for example, this Konosuba parody game, A-OK on Patreon, no good on Subscribestar. And then we have this next part, characters portrayed with body proportions, facial features, clothing, or contextual cues commonly associated with minors. How strict will they be with this? I mean, who knows? They could get rid of any and all, like, cute or moe characters. However, the clothing one is interesting because that nukes all drawn age play, basically. You know, for example, you could have a character who's adult in the story, you know, looks like an adult, but if you say put them in like a kindergartner uniform, oh, now that's not allowed on Subscribestar anymore because that's, you know, child clothing. They've also banned incest, so depiction of prohibited family relationships, content depicting sexual relationships between close family members is prohibited, including parent-child relationships, sibling relationships, grandparent relationships, and other immediate family relationships. These restrictions apply regardless of whether the characters are fictional or animated. I believe this is the same rule Patreon has. You know, and once again, this also, you know, bans a lot of content, especially if we're talking like anime communities. I mean, incest in general is just very popular, and particularly in the anime space, so this nukes a lot of stuff. Next, they ban all non-consensual sexual activities, so, you know, it says here, so rape, coercion, and any other non-consensual acts are all prohibited. This includes quite a bit, though. So, as you can see here, situations where consent is removed through force or threats, manipulation or coercion, mind control or hypnosis, drugs, intoxication, or incapacitation. So in short, unless you make the two characters sign a legal contract agreeing to the works that they perform, then you're gonna get nuked. They've also banned gore, not only in the context of, you know, sexual content, but also just in general if it's extreme enough, as well as just obscene or degrading content. They're a little vague here. As you can see, obscene or degrading content intended primarily to shock, humiliate, degrade, or disgust may be restricted or prohibited. They elaborate on this a bit more. Interestingly enough, they specifically ban fetishized bodily waste and extreme bodily fluids. So yeah, the water sports bros and the scat bros are on suicide watch. Finally, they put in a part right here, so content that promotes, glorifies, encourages, or sexualizes self-harm or suicide is prohibited. There is a bit of an elephant in the room though. Perhaps this has been updated, the situation is developing. But the furry question is actually a bit interesting here. See, originally they had this section regarding anthropomorphic characters, and last time I checked, this is still removed, so let's just go through this. Sexual content involving anthropomorphic characters, commonly referred to as furry characters, may be permitted only when all of the following conditions are met. The characters possess clearly humanoid anatomy, such as arms, human-like knee orientation, and a upright body posture. No sexual interaction occurs between humans and animals or animal-derived creatures. The characters do not appear underage. The content does not violate any other section of this policy. Content may be restricted or removed if characters appear predominantly animal-like, feral, or lack clearly humanoid anatomy. In such cases, the content may be evaluated under the bestiality and human-animal sexual activity or feral animal sexual content sections of this policy. So based on this, bare minimum, it seems like feral and bestiality is going to be banned. I mean, honestly, based on the way that they word it, I mean, you could nuke a lot of stuff with this. For example, if the furry character has paws instead of hands, I mean, would that get nuked? And they also say that no sexual interaction can occur between humans and animal-derived creatures, which is basically all furries, so I don't know exactly what's going on there. But anyway, I find this rule especially funny because they get rid of, you know, like, bestiality or feral hentai or whatever. I find this especially funny because guess what platform still allows all this? Reddit. Actually, Reddit allows just about everything that's banned here, excluding lolly and shota. I mean, Reddit allows, you know, incest, hentai, they allow fetishized bodily waste, they even allow guro. You know, I just find it so ironic whenever one of these platforms has like a pearl clutching moment, when somehow Reddit has managed to fly under the radar all this time. Anyway, near the end, they just say outright why they're doing this. Subscribestar operates in compliance with legal regulations, payment processors, and acquiring banks. As a result, some restrictions on this page may be stricter than general legal standards. Yeah, it doesn't take a genius to find out who's behind this. Obviously, MasterCard and Visa twisted Subscribestar's arm. And look, I'm not going to defend Subscribestar for this. I mean, look, once payment processors get involved, there's nothing you can really do, because they go right after your money. If Subscribestar lost Visa and MasterCard, that's basically all their income. However, at the very least, I would appreciate them being a little more open and honest about this, especially since this is a complete betrayal of their customers. Keep in mind, this isn't some random platform, this is Subscribestar. They were created specifically to counter the censorship that existed on Patreon. And now they're pretty much just as bad as Patreon. So that begs the question, why even use Subscribestar at all? Patreon is just an objectively better platform now because it has more users and more features. And look, I won't say that Subscribestar is going to immediately go bankrupt. I think it's going to have major ramifications, especially long-term, because all of Subscribestar's new would-be users are just going to cuck out and go on Patreon, or move to a different platform. I'm sure Subscribestar will kick around for some time just because they have a decent install base already. However, as people get banned and leave, very few people are going to show up to replace them. It really is an unfortunate situation, especially since this is affecting a lot of people's income. I mean, think about it, you have a good side hustle creating a legal product and selling it, but now some evil corporation has decided unilaterally that it's la heckin' immoral and has pulled it from all markets. Honestly, situations like this really do kind of blackpill me, because, you know, one of my least favorite things about the modern world that we live in is sort of this anarcho-tyranny. And what I mean by that is that, you know, criminals and the elite are allowed to run free, but you as just a normal law-abiding citizen are raked over the coals. You get grilled over parking tickets while actual criminals are allowed to run free. You aren't allowed to buy an adult game while politicians live it up at Epstein's Island. It really is disgusting. And don't even get me started on the anti-porn crusaders who think that all of society's ills are because of pornography. Yeah, the reason why the birth rates are low, it's not because of feminism, or the cost of living, or the divorce laws, or dating apps. No, just ignore all that, it's because of porn. That's it. Oh, what's that? South Korea, the country with the lowest birth rate in the world, has also outlawed porn? Nah, just cover your ears, close your eyes. The West will be saved as long as we block Pornhub. 100%. But to wrap up, this is an unfortunate situation, but not exactly unexpected. Honestly, internet censorship is seeming more and more inevitable every day. Hopefully we can fight back and eventually win the war, but I guess we'll have to see, right? Anyway, like the video if you enjoyed, comment your thoughts down below, subscribe for more content in the future. This has been Kai Maren. Thank you guys for watching, and goodbye.